So I get it. You need to make more money in your business. The question is, how do you actually do it? And of course, each person's business is a little bit different. So I'm going to give you some examples of how I've helped people increase the income in their business. And hopefully you can apply it to your own business. And if you can't, you can always schedule a session with me. I offer a 20-minute free session, and I can talk to you about your specific industry, business, location, or issues that are preventing you from earning more income in your business. So let's talk about a couple of examples. Now, one example I have is of a hairdresser that is in a small town. And it's very interesting because I happened to go into Starbucks to get a coffee, and I hear this guy at Starbucks talk about how he loves his hairdresser and how she is fabulous. He's been going to see her, and his wife have been going to see her for something like 20 years. And the funny thing about it is the guy barely has any hair. I mean, he is bald. Other than maybe the little bit of hair on the side, he really doesn't have hair. And yet he's going to a what would be considered a little bit higher end hair salon and going to the same hairdresser that he's had for years. Now, this hairdresser has some limitations, and one of the limitations is their time. That this individual, her time. Now, she's very good. She has a loyal following. She's been able to raise her prices to some degree, but ultimately she's limited by the number of people that she can book, and she often books out 3 or 4 weeks. However, this hair salon is closed on Sundays and Mondays. So ultimately, this person could make a decision to open up on Sundays, even if it was only for a few months, 3 months, 6 months, to earn some additional money and potentially get out of debt or get into a better position financially, even if it was a short-term solution, even if it was only to open on Sundays to bring in more business. So that's one way, even without changing the pricing, because the pricing is already towards the high end of competitive in the market. So just raising prices isn't really the right solution. But adding hours could make a difference, at least in the short term. And then it could be reevaluated. Does it make sense to be open on Sundays? Maybe this person can't work on Sundays, but they can have an employee keep the place open on Sundays, and they can make some of that money. If the place is busy and they're open on Saturday, but then they're closed on Sundays, what is that doing to that business overall? So that's just one example of a business, brick and mortar, in a small town, and how they might be able to earn more income by applying some of the principles that I teach. Here is another one, a photographer. So I have somebody that is a photographer, and their pricing is super low. So how do you increase your pricing without losing all of your base of customers? Because this woman has been taking pictures for a while and has a base of repeat customers that come back for photo shoots, whether it be headshots or pictures with their family, pictures with their kids. So the fear is if she raises her prices, she'll lose that base of customers. Those people will go and look elsewhere. So the work I did with her was around how to increase prices and not actually lose that base of business. And so in this particular case, she was able to double her prices and still get a fair amount of bookings, to the point where she's doing less work for more money, and now can focus on some of the other things she wants to do that can grow her business, like changing some of the package offerings, perhaps doing some group shots where she's doing, for example, a daycare, doing a shoot for an entire day and doing individual shots of each of the children, condenses the amount of time that she needs to spend, but allows her to make a significant amount of money in a single day. So those are some of the things she can now focus on, because she isn't just trying to sell as many as she can at a super low price. Now she can sell fewer at a higher price and focus on building her business in the ways that she needs to. So that's another example. Also, in a small town. I want to move from service-based businesses to talk a little bit about some businesses that I've helped that sold products. Now, one company that I helped is a manufacturing company, and basically what they do is they alter an electronic product. So they buy an electronic product, and it's a game controller. So it allows the alteration, the modification allows people to do different things in these war games. So, they can shoot faster, they can squat. There's all kinds of added benefits to having a modified controller versus a standard controller, mainly for PlayStation and Xbox games. So when I started with this company, they were having a hard time even getting their product built, and they certainly were having a difficult time selling. And one of the things that we focused on was where they were going to sell their product. And so the interesting thing about this case study is that I was able to convince them to focus more of their energy on selling on Amazon, which they already did, but they also sold on their website, and they sold on eBay, and they were focused on a bunch of different things, too many things, right? So we focused mainly on Amazon, optimizing their listing on Amazon, and there's a number of ways of doing that, but taking better pictures, improving the wording on the listing, working on how to, utilize the benefits of the Amazon algorithm to up their search engine optimizations, but on Amazon. So they would be listed on the first page. They could at least have one product listed on the first page of the search, because once they could get that, they would get that visibility. They would get increased sales. So we worked on that, and we decided to do the Fulfillment by Amazon program, which allowed them to even get greater visibility and greater sales. And in that particular case, I was able to help them go from $300,000 annual sales to, in a short 6 months, $1.2 million in sales. So if annualized, it would have been $2.4 million. So just to give you an idea of how working on something that seems really small in your business, like how you're distributing your product, can make a world of difference. And those are the kinds of things that I teach people how to do, or I work with them in how they can focus their business in the way that's going to get them the most sales. Now let's talk about another company that I also helped over about a 3-year period, and they are in the construction supply industry. So what they do is they actually buy products from a manufacturer and resell them. So they're basically a distributor. That's their business model. And what I was able to do with them was, a little bit more significant in terms of helping them build a team where they didn't have a team, helping them put processes in place, and helping them focus on selling more product. As a result, I was able to help them in a little between 2 and 3 years, 2.5 years, go from $300,000 in annual sales to $1.9 million. Now, this might all seem like a giant number to you if you're only earning $20,000 in your business. But I'll tell you, for my own business, my first year in business was, my first full year was 3 years ago, and I earned $20,000. And I have been able to increase my income exponentially as well. So, and my business is a service-based business. I'm a business coach, financial coach. That's what I do. And so I can also help people that are doing consulting, coaching, that type of business. Really, I've worked in so many industries over the course of my career, and with so many different clients in different industries, that I would consider it a challenge to find a industry or a business that I couldn't help grow their business. And of course, there are some companies that have a business model or a product that they're attached to that they would be unable to grow the business. And we've seen many examples of that. I remember in college going to a lecture, with a guest lecturer from Polaroid. And, Polaroid is a company, as an example, that didn't keep up with the times and hasn't done as well because of it. So there's certainly many examples of that. But my goal is to help you focus on your business and what the strengths are of your business, what you can offer the market, what people do want to buy from you. One of the issues that a lot of people have is they aren't able to really figure out what people want to buy. And that's one of the things that I would work with you on, both in a group setting and in an individual setting. So, that's what this new program is about. It's about teaching you how to increase the income in your business while not increasing your expenses. You might increase your expenses a little bit, but the goal is to not match your expenses to your income. So you start to earn more money. You learn how not to spend a ton more money. That's what I had to do because I needed to get out of debt. I desperately needed to get out of debt. I've been in debt for so many years, and it was such a burden that I needed to figure out how can I increase my income and not drastically increase my expenses. So then I was able to take that additional money and put it towards debt and be debt free, which again is my hope for you, is that I can help you increase your income. I can help you keep your spending in check, and I can help you pay off debt for good so that you don't have to be a slave to that. Who wants to go to bed at night worrying about whether they are going to have enough money next week to pay a credit card? Nobody does. And so that's my goal, is to help you do that. And I hope that you will either join the program. It's a 3-month program where you'll learn about all this stuff. Or if you're not quite ready yet, send me a note, schedule a 20-minute session with me, that's fine. Or you can wait till the next video comes out, which should be in a few days. You'll receive another video talking a little bit more about what you can do in your business. And you know what? If you don't sign up for the program, that's okay too. I hope you learn something, and I hope you're able to move forward in your business, whether you work with me or you do it on your own. So here's to you. Here's to being self-employed. Keep doing it. Thanks.